Hmm. It's a little bit better. All right. I'm going to give this a minute or two for people to show up. I don't expect a ton of people considering it's Christmas Eve, but give a minute or two for everyone. I will be referring to this guide, or to this build, while writing the guide today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're getting ready to get started on this. I'm just grabbing the last two things I need. So need some resistors. Should be the right ones. That is the right ones, so we'll put that over here. Buy key. What are you talking about? You keep saying that. What are you talking about? What is buy keys? What are you saying? Keys. Purchase. Yes, thank you. That explains it perfectly. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Good value, yes. Uh-huh. Yes. Alright, I'm gonna need you to unmod yourself and then ban yourself. Can you do this? Very opportunity. Hello, no skills player. Okay. Alrighty. Let's get started. So we're going to be doing a yellow Waka60. PCBs are blue in every kit. I'm drinking a midday Christmas Eve beer, as is tradition. The switches we'll be putting on these are going to be Gateron Browns that I've had forever, and they aren't being used for anything, so I kind of just want to throw them on a board. And keycaps, I believe I'm going to put on NP Crown or NP Crayon, sorry, because they are, they have a 3U that I like, and I want to show off the 3U with the weird configurations you can do at the bottom. It's actually working today, so the stream is broken. Yeah, I hope so. I'm working today, but my work is not too dissimilar from fun things for other people, so I don't mind it. Wynn's probably also working today, whether he knows it or not. Official pronunciation is crayon. Yeah. Well, I don't think I've ever said it like crown. I don't ever think I've said it like crown in my entire life. Until just now, and I think I was just thinking of the wrong word. All right, so we're gonna start with the things, the part of this that everyone knows, because it's the same on every board. We're gonna go diodes. I'll show off my bending trick, same as I do every time. You take your sheet. This is honestly way too many for this, but it's fine. You fold it down to an appropriate length where it'll fit. Like, look at it compared for the diodes, or to the tweezers. We're actually selling these exact tweezers now because I go through them a lot, and it's nice to have them in stock for you guys. Plus, they're cheap. So I'll hold it like that, other side of the diodes, and then you can just push down on the things. Straighten it up a little bit, go up and down. Boom. Now, you don't want these closed all the way. You want them open a little so that it can bend around it. But it should just barely go around the diode body itself and just have the legs bend down. You like to bend your diodes individually? That's fine. I don't have 75 hours for each one of these boards I do, and they look... improves your relationship with them. This is true. That is true. The quality time is what really adds to it. We also sell a diode bender that's like, what is it, $1 when it is completely worth $1. It's just a 3D printed little bending nugget that I believe when made, it's pretty simple, but it gets the job done if you want to bend them more individually. It's like yeah, he designed it himself. And then I just cut down one side at a time. But I mean, look at it when it's done. It did a good job. Deceptively simple, easy to use, hard to master. Yeah, the diode bender. Yeah. If you want to bend them in small amounts, some people don't trust themselves to do the whole batch at once, or they want to bend it. Oh, God, I really need new snips. These are super dull. They're either dull or not lined up. They're not lined up. That's what it is. Not cutting very well. We actually just bought a bunch of snips to have in stock too. Merlin is very smart at the things that he knows. Merlin is, I think, brilliant at the things that he knows. But he's a lot like me and a lot of other people that are smart in particular areas, that it isn't universal, and sometimes learning new things is the most complicated thing in the world. Buy keys. Just use the bottom plate to bend them. You can do that too. I think it's easier to use tweezers because I can do it just with two hands. Sometimes with the plate, you gotta like rest it on the table and then bend it over. It gets a little complicated. So this is, for the diode portion, probably one of the simpler boards that we have. It's when you get to the center area is when things get a little complicated, but not really enough to be confused by it. So same deal. You're just gonna put them in. Let me turn on my soldering iron. Put it in, flip it, hold it with your thumb, flip it over, bend the legs away so it holds it into place, and we'll go back to it. So I'm just gonna do that on all of them now. .3D printable case for the Murph pad. I did not, mostly because I hate 3D printed plastic. I'm okay with it for like tools or for prototyping, but I don't really want a board that's in it. So there's a couple open source ones that people have made in the Discord though. They should still work perfectly fine for the new revision of Murph pad 2. The only difference is if you want to add a split port onto them, it gets a little complicated, but I'll let them make revisions for that. They're on making 3D printable case from noise. We were supposed to have the Murph pad back in stock before the end of the year, but no, that is obviously not going to happen. We got the shipment that they came in, but I messed something up and JLC PCB messed something up. So we won't be selling stock. If it was one of those things, that'd be fine. But both of them together, and it actually made a big problem, so we will not be selling those. It's functionally the same. It's adding... It'll look the same. The only thing that it's adding is a cutout that allows you to use the Pro Micro USB-C version, which we're going to be selling in store as well when these go up. We're not building mine yet. Is there a problem? No. Anything that we've shipped is perfectly fine. It's the first batch of revision 2 ones that came in 2 days ago. They have an issue. Everything we've sold is perfectly great. They're like protos. They weren't supposed to be prototypes, but they are. It's just a large batch of defective prototypes. Using a nice nano, planning on using one anyway. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. The stuff that I've added or changed doesn't matter for nice nanos, so I wouldn't worry about that really. It's a little bit better for a nice nano because it separates the... keep putting these in backwards. To clarify, if you've never put in diodes before, you'll see that... let me get this in focus. The diode itself has a little black line there. There you go. Diode itself has a black line that goes with the solid line on the PCB. Steve, for the nice nano for ZMK merge, I was working with the ZMK team to make sure that it met all their style parameters, because they're working... Part of the reason it wasn't merged before is that they were working on clarifying what they wanted. They didn't know what their requirements were, was the issue. Which sounds like a weird thing, but... yeah, they didn't know what they required yet. Because, like QMK had a guide on here's how to get your PR merged. ZMK didn't do that yet because they weren't expecting a lot of people to put out. And there still aren't that many keyboards in the repo. For the Murph pad sales, we don't talk directly about sales numbers, but the Murph pad and Mercutio are both very popular. The OBE hasn't obviously had that much time. It's selling steadily. People like OBE. I like the OBE. It has been my daily driver for a while, but I'm using the Shorty 40 entirely right now. God damn it. It did help with the move. I mean, all of this stuff helped with the move. My girlfriend's also working, so like our bills were covered. Move was expensive though. Flip your Murph. Hey, if you can, go for it. I saw Mercutio's before people knew that we were going to have all this stuff in stock all the time, and even while it was in stock, I saw people flipping them on Mech Market, which is hilarious. Because the people that bought it are either impatient, have money that they don't really care what happens to it, or they don't know us at all and know that one of our like core goals for Mech Wild is to have things in stock. So I'm a little bummed out about the Murph pad not being in stock right now. It should always be in stock, but... it's all my fault. It's not all my fault. It's mostly my fault, I would say. Keyboard, Keycap, GBs is God. Ah, you're saying you enjoy entering them. I thought you were telling us to enter them. I was like, what? God's way of telling you don't care for money. I gotcha. I see where you're going with that. The only GB I'm waiting on right now is Cyberspace. Murph and Merc are both great designs. Great job on those two. Also, hello. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. Hexy the Grouch. What is, 150 for the price of 75. Are they on sale? Is that what you're saying? Okay, is that... Oh god, that's a great deal, but I've blown more money than I want to admit on RuneScape over the last couple months. What are you using the OLED on my Murph pad for, by the way? I have it set to the ZMK default, which doesn't allow for a lot of customizations. I don't think I have a non-wireless one that I use, right? I have 20 plus Murph pads. I've been waiting on revision 2 to rebuild a wired one because I want to use the USB-C Pro Micro on it. So I was excited when the protos or the first batch came in, the proto came in, but it's got an issue I am not willing to fix. So I'm just gonna wait on the regular ones. The ZMK doesn't allow a ton of customization for the OLED currently, because they're using the like Zephyr proper OLED stuff. It mostly just shows, for one thing, I have it off almost all the time because power. OLEDs are power efficient, or they're energy efficient, but not as much as just turning it off. So. Got a new camera set up right now, so it's a little bit... I'm still getting used to the angle on it for the top down. It used to be mounted to the left, now it's mounted that way, so it's coming straight forward. Alright. This is the fun part of the build. So I'm just doing this so we can talk and get the pleasantries and whatever, people coming in out of the way while I'm doing the diodes, which is the simplest thing, which I say, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did one of these backwards. Oh, thank you. I like my hat a lot. Keeps my my bald head warm. Oh, motherfucker. Yes, this is my real beard color. My beard is red, and my hair, when it is allowed to grow on top of my head, is a brown. Red beards are, that's pretty common actually. Like, I used to, when I wore long, longer sideburns and no beard, just my sideburns would be red. Pay good money for a beard like that. Thanks, buddy. It's kind to say, I think. Unless you're trying to encourage me to sell it. If you're trying to encourage me to sell the beard, no dice. It's my beard. We're going to be doing a weird bottom row on this build today. Sell the beard. Sell it for money. He got a Sully's beard. That's gross. It's also drastically undercharging for such an exclusive collector. Eat the rich with the beard. Yeah. Lock of it. Ugh. And 2 more, I think, unless I missed some. All right. I also want to talk about black pills today. If you were a part of the OBE, GB, or some of the early sales, there was an issue with some of our stock of the black pill, and I talked to the manufacturer about it, about the black pill supplier, and see, I did put one on backwards right here. Let me double check now that I know I've messed up. Let me make sure there's no others. Manufacturer had no idea, no information, just was like, oh really, that sucks. And I was like, any idea how that happened? He's like, I don't know. The answer is, to me, that they're cheap Chinese electronics, but we know that, people know that. It's the reason we sell the sockets. These things happen. However, the error rate was too high for my liking, so what I ended up doing is I'm pre-programming them. I made a OBE test firmware that, you know, the blue light that's on it that pulses? That blue light, you can configure to be an LED inside the firmware. So I set it up to be the numpad indicator, and then that way I can tell it's still working as a keyboard. And then I have it run for at least 40 seconds, turning that on and off, like every second, to make sure that it isn't just gonna die out of nowhere. Let me move the shorty 40. That has entirely removed the issues that I've had with it, and it was too high of a failure rate for me to be happy with it. So I'm very happy with the fix that we've had. I'm not happy that basically 1 in 10 or so have this production issue. I think all the ones that had issues were replaced for the OBE group buy. But now we don't sell any that aren't tested, including the one that I'm using today, which, if you recall, normally they come... let me move this over. It comes like the Pro Micro, where it's in a silver foiled ESD protected bag. So what I have actually done is if they're programmed, they'll come in a pink resealable ESD baggie, because this is after I repacked it after programming it. So when I plug this in, it'll probably show up as an OBE on my computer, because that's the QMK build I put in it to test. I might build one specifically for the black pill tester. I'm not sure yet. It's basically just an OBE configured not to use EEPROM, and also configured to have the numlock set as the LED light, or the LED that's on it. I don't know what the issue is. I know that it is an issue with the microcontroller itself. And as a byproduct of weeding out the ones that don't play nicely with we've been calling it the 30-second issue. So the issue was 1 in about every 10 of them, when it's programmed as a keyboard, and plugged into your computer for about 30 seconds, it'll just randomly disconnect and then it'll never connect again as a keyboard until you reflash it. Now, obviously, that's not cool. So when I run the test for at least 40 seconds, it weeds all of those out. And it is down to the like millisecond, 30 seconds exactly. We have USB logs showing where it connected, and then where it disconnected from several different computers. And this spanned across every operating system that we had tested. So Linux, Mac, Windows. I couldn't find that issue at first, and I ended up having somebody send theirs back to me. One of our customers send it back to me, and I tested it from that one, and I was able to identify what the issue was. But I also replaced the microcontroller on it. Like I did a SMD, like hot air reflow of the microcontroller that was on it, and it was, if you changed out the microcontroller, it worked perfectly. None of the other components made it fail. It was just the microcontroller, and then I could, wherever that microcontroller went, it would fail. So I don't know what's wrong inside of it. I just know where it's wrong, and I'm able to replicate it, and I'm able to test for it. So I test for it, so I don't sell you guys bad products. Yeah, Marin. Possibility of being a counterfeit. Yeah, there's when I looked into this a few months ago, because I looked into this before we bought them in the first place, and we've had these for a little while. The STEM32 F401 and F411, I haven't seen any confirmed reports of counterfeits, but the STEM32 F103 CE, which is the blue pill part, and they're not too dissimilar. They're just different models, obviously. Those are, the market for those is so saturated with counterfeits that you just assume you're getting a counterfeit. I haven't seen reports for the F401 or F411. That was part of the decision for why we were using black pills and not blue pills. It also allowed you to buy a higher end one if you didn't want the cheaper one, and they were more readily available, but there was also less of a demand for them because there aren't a lot of keyboards using these, and hobbyists are really kind of good with whatever. They'll buy one black pill and be fine. The keyboard stores will buy out the entire stock of Pro Micros, and now Pro Micro costs twice as much as a black pill. So I wanted to get something that wasn't already being used for every freaking keyboard maker. There is a possibility of it being counterfeit, though. I haven't seen reports of them being counterfeit. I've seen suggestions of it. I haven't seen any proof of that. Not ours specifically, but them existing. I think likely, with this issue, I don't think it's unreasonable to think that these might be counterfeits. But if they're working, I'm not too worried about it. I did do what I could to try and prevent that. And I have some that are from a more reputable company, some of the like first party black pills, because black pills are designed by WeAct the same way that Pro Micro is designed by SparkFun, but we're buying knockoffs of that design from China. That's every Pro Micro you've ever seen that isn't red is a knockoff. SparkFun, the primary manufacturer of Pro Micros, the designer, does red PCBs for their Pro Micros. So anyone that you've seen on Alibaba or through any keyboard store, they're all knockoffs. And that's, you know, that's fine. It's a fairly simple design. It's using... The only thing that it copied from them directly is the footprint, the like layout. And that's just, they're using it as a standard. It's like that layout, or the design as it stands for the Atmega 32U4 based Pro Micros is in the, like, the schematic is provided in the datasheet for the part from Microchip / Atmel / AVR, however they want to be labeled. So it isn't like it's some proprietary design that's being ripped off. It's just the footprint and the like name that's being copied. Check the Pro Micro that came with your Murph pad. Your Pro Micro is fine. I haven't heard any reports that we were able to quantify. Look, basically, I haven't gotten a single report from one of our customers that our Pro Micro arrived to them dead. That wasn't also having it like really poorly soldered or like broken in half or something. So it's the only complaints I've gotten really are from people that clearly did something wrong but didn't understand that they broke it. I haven't heard any being plugged in and just not working. So you should be fine. I'm pretty happy with our stock that we've had. Is that all of them? I think it is. Know a ton about the SEM architecture, so no clue on how you could exercise it or to make sure it plays nice. Well, it's ARM, right? Because STM is just ST Microelectronics or whatever. I forget what their name actually stands for, but it's just using ARM architecture. There's two hidden right here in the middle that I didn't see. It uses ChibiOS as a real-time operating system that's embedded into QMK. That's how it's used, but they do all of that really seamlessly. Like, it's abstracted to the point where you don't really have to worry about it. Literally, the only thing that I could... Like, it's clearly a hardware issue, but for me to test it... Did I miss one? I did miss one. That's weird. The only thing that I could think of to test it is to let it run. So I have a tester that I can plug in like 7 USB-C cables. And whenever I plug in a black pill, it flashes it automatically and then starts counting. And checking the light. And then at the end of 40 seconds, if it isn't flashing anymore, I know that it's faulty. It's pretty easy. I wrote like a monitoring script and an auto flashing script, and that's how I'm all working together. $8051s. I don't know that shorthand. I don't recognize that. I feel like I should though. Also, Hexy the Grouch, are you on our Discord? If so, what name are you so I know who I'm talking to? Old Intel archetype. Ah, oh, are the... What were the What were the chips that were used in the original Game Boys? You know? Z80s. Okay. That's what that made me think of, but I wasn't sure. Okay. I've looked into playing with those too, just because I think it's funny that you can screw with your Game Boy. Yeah, first party, I've messed with several, STEM, microcontrollers. I've played with several PIC microcontrollers. I played with, AVR, and Nordic now is what I've had. Because I'm doing all our wireless stuff using Nordic chips. Okay, diode's done. Beautiful, look at it. Love it. Now what we are gonna do is, I think that this would be easiest, because I haven't really thought about this. I think this is now the right time to do the LED strip. Diode's done. Sorry, as you... Have you heard of the PIC 10F200s? I believe that's what they are. They're smaller than a grain of rice. They have like 3 pins and like 20 words of memory or something. I have a bunch of those I've played with because I think they're really funny. You can't do a lot with them, but they're very funny. To think that there's a microcontroller is just that small, smaller than like one of these diodes. Okay, so for the LEDs, this is different. So this is something you're going to pay attention to. There's a box here, an outline. It says LED strip. Now that's pretty accurate considering if the cuts are on the line. Sometimes they're a little bit off depending on, because like we don't take that much time to cut them. It doesn't matter all that much. So you're going to peel the backing off so you have the adhesive side of the LED showing. And then we're going to look at the arrows. See the arrows? Arrows are going to go towards the top of the board. Now, I'm lining this up. You want to put it halfway. Here, I'll show it after I line it up. And put it down. You want to put it so that the solder pad is halfway on or so. It doesn't have to be exact, but here, let me scooch it down a little. And you can always move it a little bit after the fact. But it should be halfway onto this little solder nugget at the bottom of the thing. And it's, see, at the top, it basically like perfectly lines up into the silk screen. Okay, so they're halfway onto it. Now, what we're going to do to solder that, I'll do one of these and I'll show it up close. What you're going to do to solder that is you're just going to... And remember, the arrows need to point towards the top of the board. Just put a little bit of solder. Let me do the 5-volt one because it'll be easier than the ground. You're just going to kind of touch both at the same time, and it'll just flow over. That it doesn't need to be a big glob there. Just need enough for it to be on, adhered, and connected to each other. So let me do the other two now. Okay. I'm gonna do ground. Okay, now, see that? Trying to get it so the glare isn't showing. So that is connected. These are done. I think that's really simple, but you don't need jumper wires, obviously. So I think that's really cool that it just, boom, right on the pad. I have it as a through hole so you can run wires elsewhere if you want. It also just makes it easier to reflow from the other side if you have to. I could have done just SMD pads, but that kind of scares people, so I just went with this. Do I know a decent guide a noob could follow to get a Murph pad firmware onto a nice nano from a Linux box? Yes, you actually don't need anything special. You don't need the command line interface, actually. You can do it all in the browser and then it'll open up as a file browser. I can walk you through that later. I created a Git repo based on the Nicel Nice Keyboards Git repo where you can just build the firmware in the browser and then with the GitHub actions and then download it and throw it onto your thing. It's really, really simple. Getting it onto it, you just want to put it in bootloader mode. Can you connect them also on the underside to extend the LED? I wouldn't connect more to the underside because the way that the LEDs flow is they flow through the LEDs. So if you're going to connect more, you're going to want to connect to the top or something to that effect. You're going to want to connect to the output here. You could do that. I don't think I would. So what else are we going to do now? We have the speaker to do, which I have the speaker there. Encoder. Encoder is going to be the last thing we do. We should do the EEPROM now. Okay. Back to the underside with the diodes. So we get an EEPROM and 2 resistors. I'm going to do the resistors first. Just got the tape ends off. Doesn't matter which way you do these. This isn't like the diode where it matters a whole lot, but you have R1 and R2 here. My only thing is I like them facing the same way, but that's honestly up to you. I'm doing, on this one, I believe I'm doing a 3-1-1-2 or 3-1-2-1. I'm doing a weird layout for the bottom on this one because I want to use the 3U, but I don't want it to be centered because that feels lame to me. So I want to do, I use spacebar most on my right hand, but I want a dedicated like short spacebar on the left for gaming stuff. Okay, let me solder these. Yeah, you didn't think about asymmetrical, did you? Yeah, you can do... The bottom row is very customizable, so I kind of wanted to show that off a little bit and also, like, drive some people crazy, because I know there's going to be people that are upset about this. I should... Here, let me add a git command. I think that's a good suggestion. I was just playing with commands earlier, so it's still up in my browser. I'm just going to link it to the main MechWild page. What was the other command you tried to do? Commands. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that would work. I didn't really have them set up the way I wanted to. You try a... There you go. Okay. Now I'm gonna spit out the MechWild one. With 2-3-2, 2-2U, and a single 3U. Yeah. I'm doing NP Crayon on this build, so there's only one 3U bar in there, so I'm just trying to use what's in that kit. Most kits only come with one 3U, but if you have DSA 3Us, which I can't find, I know I have some, but you could use that instead. All right, now I'm going to put the EEPROM on. Be careful of this. I'm not worried about grounding myself or anything at the moment. To show this again, there's a notch in the top. Focus, damn you. There you go. There's a notch in the top, just like there is a notch in the silk screen. That's how you align it. The notch is going towards the top of the board. Normally I'd bend these legs down, but I don't feel like it. Now, the way that the EEPROM come by default in most DIP packages, which stands for dual inline pin, it's basically 2 rows of pins that are parallel to each other. So their legs are always bent outward slightly. You have to bend them more vertical to get them to go in the holes. The way I'll do that is I'll lead with one side, like the left side, kind of push it, and then put the right side in. But it's whatever. You can just bend them with your hands. You could, I don't know, I rolled mine on the table sometimes to make sure they work. Okay, so there's the EEPROM, nice and happy. Now we're going to do the speaker. So for this one, we didn't send you guys any tape, but you're gonna want some tape for this. I'm gonna be using a little tiny bit of masking tape that I just roll over. So all you're gonna do is red wire is positive, black wire is negative. You'll see here it says speaker, and then has positive towards the red side and negative towards the black side. Now I'm just gonna put those both in the hole. So you're putting these in on the top side. You don't want to feed too much of the wire through. You mostly just want it to be the leads, which is the metal part. I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna, God damn it. All right, I'm just gonna do this the way I wanted to do it before. So I like doing it this way. I was trying to see if I could do the flip thing. So you're gonna solder that hole. You're gonna put a little bit into the positive side. Then you're gonna take this, you're gonna heat it a little bit, and you're gonna just stick, once it's melted, put the metal part of the wire into it. I'm gonna do that with the negative side now too. Make sure it's cooled before you remove the iron, hold it there for another half second. This is not the most sensitive thing in the world. Is there space between the bottom side and the bottom plate for a machine pin socket? Yes. You're saying the bottom side and the bottom plate. Yes, yes, yes. You can put the tall boy sockets that we have. Yes, those will fit. They should fit. Where's mine? I believe I have. That one's soldered flat. I have one that I soldered socket in. I don't know where the hell it is. I like soldering it flat, but you don't have to. Ah, there. Yes. Here you go. This is one that I built. It might be. I think I had to use tall boy standoffs for this. I'm not sure. It's kind of look like 15s, for being honest. Yeah, those are 15s. So I had to use tall standoffs for that. So no, you're not going to be doing it with sockets the same way. It's interesting. That should fit. Why is that? That seems weird to me that that's so tall. I'm not going to build it with sockets because I want to show it the way that I intend it to be built here. So you can do it flat or you can do it slightly stood off. These sit a little too high is the issue. Yeah. So I'm going to do it flat on these, which for that, what that means for me is going to, oh, I put one in one way and one in the other way. So I'm putting the long side of the pins through. It doesn't really matter for that, but what I'm doing here is I think it's easier if you do the short side. So I'm doing it like this. I have it in the black pill so that it keeps them parallel instead of being wibbly wobbly or not facing the right way. So I'm going to solder these on. And we're just soldering this to the PCB right now. We're not soldering this to the black pill yet. Oh, great, I moved it. Let me just hit all the corners and then we'll remove the black pill so that this doesn't get knocked loose again. Less risk of nicking the pill when you trim. You don't need to trim it at all here if you don't want to. It's not like the OBE where it's like crammed under things. But what I am gonna do, because I want it to sit like super, you know what? I'm gonna solder all the pins before I do that. We're gonna remove the plastic spacer. I want it to sit as low as possible. There's low pro sockets that basically sit that low. The like pro micro ones, they're sold for pro micros a lot. The strip ones. Those would be perfect for this if you don't want to get taller standoffs. It's all on that side. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Yes, exactly. That's right. Exactly. Some Doctor Who references. This is how we appeal to the youth, right? Right? Okay, so we got all those on. All the pins are soldered. Now what we're gonna do is remove these spacers. I just get on there with some tweezers. Just make sure you aren't going near where the traces are obvious here, because if you cut them, it'll make a Big headache for you. Come on, sucker. These things are... So don't cut with these, but you can use them to like leverage up. Get under it because they're flat. Okay, now that I have it spaced out a little bit there, I'm gonna start working down from here. Damn, these tweezers suck. They're all bent up from... Let me use a new pair. These are the weird bent ones I've had forever. Of course, this just has to be difficult right now. Usually want to do it a little bit along the whole way. There we go. Once it's the whole thing's up a little bit, it is so much easier. There we go. Be careful the EEPROM here. Don't leverage on anything. Like, the way that I'm doing this, I'm leveraging it on spots of the PCB that don't have anything going on them. You don't want to, like, support yourself on a diode and break that diode. Oh. One of those pins was not soldered. Huh. That is annoying. Well, shit. That's why I wanted to solder it first. There's a little bit of solder on it, but it is not soldered. Alright, make sure you have all your pins soldered. I also bent it on the way out, apparently. Sorry. The cool thing about these tweezers is because they are tapered, just by pushing them in, it'll wedge this up. But they are also very sharp on the tip, so you don't want to push it like I just did on a trace. Jesus Christ. So I normally do this on the black fill, but I didn't want you guys to feel like you had to do it on the black fill. Alright. I think I might recommend it on the black fill then. It's another one not soldered. I just missed 2 pins on that side, huh? I bent one of them. Let me push that pin back down. How did I miss 2 pins? That one was already in. I'll fix that up when we're on the black pill. What do I do for a day job then? Yes, this is my day job. Keyboards. Alright. Don't use tweezers that are as beefed up as mine because they were cutting into this. I mean, it's blank spots on the PCB, but it doesn't look good. So make sure your tweezers aren't screwed up on the tips like mine are. Straighten up this pin that I've been out of whack. I'm going to trim those because they look ugly and not because you have to. Okay, so we have the only thing I need to solder is the black pill and the encoder before switches. So I'm going to do the black pill now. Let's do things the right way. Let's test it, even though these are already tested, but I should double test before soldering it. Okay, so the blue light's on. Let me grab my Murph pad. This is not... Yeah, this isn't numlock by itself. It's something else. So function numlock. So you see it is acting as a keyboard correctly. So that's working. That means we'll be able to flash it just fine. Just realized one of these diodes is hanging out a little bit. Yeah, let's go ahead and block this person. No, we're gonna send, 1 second, let me get rid of this thing. Socket and black pill on the walk-in. No, you can socket it, it's just we're gonna send a, you're gonna want taller standoffs. I had to use 15s on that one. Or you can use the low pro sockets. If you're buying the sockets that come with ours, I think we should include 15s for people. There we go. So it actually just sits flat against the board, which I think is really cool. Now I'm going to solder this onto the black pill. Sucker. You don't have to do it flat like this. You could leave the spacer on just fine. Just like it lets it sit lower overall. Actually, let me double check that. I don't know if it does work just fine. I know that it's sometimes close. Let me double check with what I got. I need to know what I'm going to put in the guide, obviously. Yeah, you can use a spacer. You can use a spacer if you want. I thought I had it lined up so it exactly would use or fit with the spacer, and I did. That's why we're using these 12s. Taller send as if you order the socket with it. Probably not, but I'd like to include those if you did. Did we already ship yours? Because if we already shipped yours, then no. But we didn't ship that many of them last week. We're going to be finishing them up. That was partially because holiday shipping made going to the post office kind of the worst thing that I've experienced in a long time. I don't know why people are sending stuff out, 2 days before Christmas and then, like, expecting it to get there by Christmas. You have it in front of me, yes? Yeah, it probably doesn't have it. Your black pill doesn't need to be socketed if you don't want to do anything crazy. I wouldn't socket it unless you want to wait on some other standoffs. Then the low probably looks better here. Unless you have different sockets. Did you buy the sockets that came with ours? Or like you bought it as... Because we started including the 2 different sizes of standoff for the OBE. We're going to do the same for this. I think just the ones that we sent already don't have that. Hey, thanks for the follow. Blow Mage. Ha. Alright, I'm going to trim this now. You don't have to. I am because I bent some of them and they look dumb. Drive me crazy. So these don't... You don't have to cut these too flush. I don't gouge the PCB. Do not cut anything that is sensitive. Please. Excited to build it. Awesome. So appreciate you getting it out so fast and expect it. That was... You got the sockets for me. I'm sorry, Better Pops. If you want, we can send you some 15s. I'll send you some 15s out when we're in office. So Monday, I guess. If you would like. You can build it with a socket and then send you some 15s. And when you got the sockets from us with orders from last week, I'll send them out 15s as well. My fault I didn't think about it. Wynn asked me what goes in it, and I gave him the list of the normal build and not the socket one. All right. So now I'm gonna do the encoder. I should do the encoder now. Don't support taking on Discord. Yeah, that'd be easier. Easy for me to remember it. I'm sorry if I've ruined your Christmas project by not including them, but thank you for pointing that out. All right, at this point, we're going to do the little tapey do. So for this, it doesn't matter what you use, adhesive, double-sided tape, whatever the hell. I do it with standard masking tape. Just rip a little piece like this, make sure it's flat. And you're just gonna roll it onto itself to make it a little double-sided nugget. Just one of these. Let me cut this so it's not sticking out. Just like that. And it doesn't matter where you stick it, but I do have it planned to be next to the encoder, because being next to the encoder makes sense for this switch here. Now all you got to do is be mindful that this switch position, and grab a switch, shouldn't hit it. Yep, you'll be fine with it there then. Thanks, bud. Short 40 will hold me over time. I appreciate that. I really like my Shorty 40 as well. I think it's a fun board. All right, now, so I've got the speaker on, I got that on, I've got, what was I gonna do now? Oh, I gotta get the stabs on. I always forget the stabs, but let's test it. I'm gonna build some firmware. Now we're waiting on the VIA. Let me double check to make sure that wasn't just suddenly merged or doesn't have any feedback for it. Yeah, it's not in VIA yet, but I have the keymap written for it. You guys will just have to download it and do it yourself until then, which is not fun. But let me build the firmware here. Make. Excuse me? Oh, I don't have it since it's been merged in here. I haven't updated this. I know you guys don't see this, so just give me a half second. Do the VO one. What? Ah. I just had an old version of QMK. On this. All right, now I'm gonna hold the boot button and tap the reset button, and then let go of the boot button, and it's flashing on QMK Toolbox. So this light should come on once it's done. It says it's setting up a device. It's ready to go. All right, well, let's double check. It's showing up in VIA for me. Showing up in VIA. So lighting. Should be adequate solder, so I'm wondering if the encoder's working. Huh. Unplug that. Just top up these solder points, see if there's anything going on weird there. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, I guess the middle one didn't have enough solder on it. Good to know. Okay, so now I can change the lighting. Oh, look, Christmas. Then it's pretty funny. You can't see it because it's so bright, but there's no way I'm gonna be able to. And it's just too bright; it blows it out. But let's finish firmware for the next one. GitHub Actions, nice, right? Okay, so we've got that. Let me test the. I'm gonna do. So we have it here on the layout that I want to do, and there's no way to make this easier. I wish there was. So I think that I want. Oh, you know what? I don't have 3U off to the side. No, I do have 3. I can do 3U on the side. So what? Why isn't that an option? 3U. Literally don't see that here. I'll make that change. That's simple. So weird. Do I only have 3U on the center on this? There's definitely when it said 3U1, 3U is an option. I'll update that. This isn't approved anyway, so that's fine. I don't have an easy way to do that right this second, so we'll do that together in a little bit. Back to top cam. It should just be all done. Trying to think. Yeah. Yeah. Have a lovely festive period. You too. And thank you for the beard comments. All right, now what we're gonna do? It's plate time. So cool. Now I'm doing this with browns because I have a bunch of browns that aren't being used in anything, and why not? They're very old and they've been in several boards already. Please forgive that. Just gonna line up a couple. They're also only 3-pin, so I'm not able to like. They aren't able to just like hang out in the board without me popping them into the plate correctly. Look, I almost forgot the freaking stand out. So, what we sent you guys, it's going to come with 2 of these 3U wires. 3U wires are kind of a pain in the butt to find, but we figured if we're offering 3U capable, might as well send them to you guys as a little gift. I don't think we're always going to send those. That isn't the plan right now. We might sell them separately, but I wanted to give them to the GB backers as a gift. So you get your normal setup here. I'm going to trim these a little bit. Tape off of here. Do what you would normally do with your stabilizers. I'm doing what I normally do. Don't just cut things blindly without knowing what they are. But it is just use this wire instead of the ones that come stock with it. That's the only difference. It's the same housing, same everything else. You can put 2 3Us on here if you wanted, if you're feeling a little bit crazy. I am only putting 1 on because I want to show that it's weird. For this, it's going to be the inside ones on the outer mount holes. Now, there's the I'm going to use these little O-rings that come with it. You don't have to if you don't want to. It's easier to put them on the screw and then screw it in, and then pat it down tight. Sticky side towards the PCB, obviously. Sorry. Downside of having giant fingers is small, delicate work like this is tough. Okay. Play with the sound a little bit when this is all said and done. So, I like this 3U over here. Where do we want to put our 2U? I already put another 3U wire on it, but I only want 1 3U on this. A 2U wire. I'm thinking I want 2U as far left as possible. Let's put it the right way. That's not the right position. This is the right position. You can't do 2, 2, 2. You can do 2, 2. You can't do a 2 in the center because then that would make it off. Theoretically, you could do a 2, 2, 3, but I didn't set that up, so that is not supported by the PCB. There's a lot of options for this. I forgot I have a beer. I would like a sip of that beer. One second. This thing's dying. plug this into charge while we're finishing this up. Oh, I unplugged the wire that plugs into. Okay, so we decided we want 2113 because why would I do anything else? I'm gonna put one in the center here. Some of these legs are bent because these have already been in a ton of boards. They've also been stored in a Ziploc bag. Come on. Ah, bent the pin. Bent the pin and it wasn't in the plate all the way. Okay. These settled. Do one in the corner here. I'm just lining these up so I can solder in the kind of complicated ones, which is... Oh god, this one's all beat up. Oh, the pins are all caved in on that. Oh, several of these are. That one had a fucking Milmac socket on the pin. I feel like this layout's gonna bother Win. People and their hate for asymmetrical really amuses me. Anybody have any fun plans they want to talk about for the holiday? Did I forget to put one on next to it? I think I did. Thank you guys for hanging out while I build this. After I get the first few in here, I'm gonna test the matrix. Like, should have done to begin with, but I forgot. So that's all the switches in that need to be in. This one isn't seated all the way, but neither of these are on the bottom. Those are. Weird. Some of the old solder on these switches was keeping it from seating correctly. It's better. I was doing them a once over before we... Because the ones that are determining where the plate sits away from the PCB are the important ones. So first ones that you do are what's going to determine the spacing for the rest of them. Okay, now we're going to plug this in. Switch to... We want to go to test the matrix here. I'm actually going to use just all 1U, matrix. That way all the spots are showing. I'm gonna take tweezers and test. Oh, I pushed the button. Okay, don't be alarmed by that. There's a button on that side, and I pushed it, and it showed up. Oh, I pushed that side. Sorry, I hit it. So we'll start here. Test that. Test that. Test that. Let's skip this one. Oh, open up my Windows menu. The reason you test the matrix here is because keys that open up layers don't play kindly with us. Okay, let me just get this side done and then we'll focus on the other side. And click the mute button. Okay. And I haven't done anything here. Here. Okay, all the keys are working. I'll unplug this. Back to putting in all our switches. I hope all these switches work. Some of these are really old and have had their plastic around the pins basically melt and reform because they were in a bunch of different... Oh god, this is... That one has a Milmax socket soldered onto it. I can't explain why that is the case. It probably came out of a... I was probably using that as like a placeholder. The pin's all folded in half. Let me change off the design back to top can. It's also got a mix on it. Yeah, I haven't been very kind to these bronze. There's a very real chance I'll have to desolder one or two of these because they just been hurt over time. That's not the end of the world. I'm putting NP crayon on this. I'm not a big fan of NP crayon. I really like the design and the kitting for it. It's a really good all-around set. I don't like typing on NP, like no profile. They're just very flat and it's weird to me. That's my only complaint about the keycaps is I just don't like the profile. So if you like typing on it, it's a fantastic set for its cost. You can kit any kind of weird board you want to build. And all kinds of folded in on some of these. Glad I counted beforehand to make sure I had enough and plus some extra. So I could throw bad ones off to the side. Hey, thanks for the thanks for the gift subs. Really appreciate that. Happy Merry Crimbus. Anonymous too. Santa? That's awesome though. Thank you very much. Sorry, I'm not like throwing a party and dancing around. My head is killing me. Speaking of which, I forgot beer. It's a holiday beer. It's not my normal style, but it's actually pretty good. It's got like cinnamon notes in it. It's pretty cool. Very Christ-like. I've gotten to the point where kind of weird layouts are fun to put together, but finding a kit that looks good with the board is always the biggest challenge. I agree. I have 20 plus keycap sets behind me that are just not being used, so like I'm trying to find a way to use weird ones. Like this isn't something that every kit could do, especially all the one-use stuff. But I know that NP, because it has no profiles. That means the rows are all the same. It's like DSA in that regard. And DSA is my favorite. I thought I'd like NP, but no. Yeah, I'm DSA and Cherry basically only. Cat, I like the profile enough, but I find that they make switches sound pretty bad. Not a big fan of that. These don't look like they're in all the way. They're alright. Oh no, that one was not in all the way. Let me do these ones in the middle. Make sure they're in all the way. I didn't have any in the top middle, so it was bowing out a little bit. There we go. Do you have any like food traditions? Like I know people do like they have to have shrimp cocktail as one of their Christmas food traditions. And it's so weird. We never had those when I was growing up, like that kind of tradition for food. I think it's cool. Ham? I like a good Christmas ham. I know people that do Christmas turkey, and they treat it like more like Thanksgiving Part 2. I can appreciate. I do black eyed peas on New Year's. Like I'll do some slow cook or black eyed peas with ham. Like that is my New Year's. That and like corned beef and cabbage. But that's an Irish thing though, I think. An Irish tradition. So And probably something my grandfather or whatever cared about, but now it just became a thing in my family. Rice pilaf. Interesting. Cannibal sandwiches. Was that like turducken? I hope so, because if it's anything else, I'm going to be upset. You must explain yourself now. You can't just say cannibal sandwich and then... Soylent. Soylent Green is people. There's never going to be a way for me to solder the way I want to when I'm not on camera. But while I'm on camera, there's never going to be a way for me to do that. Raw, ground round, thick sliced onion, and rye bread. Raw, ground round. That sounds terrible. It's just, you're eating raw ground meat. Oh man. Can't do that. Ground meat I get weird about. It needs to be at least medium temperature for me. Like burgers, I always get at least medium. Just, you know, it's not based on science so much as it's based on feeling, and it just makes me feel weird to eat it if it's too mixed up still. Typical like steak cuts, I will eat medium rare. It's my preferred temperature. Poor man's tartar. Yeah. I was making jokes about pork tartar the other day, and the person I was talking to, it just went over their head why that would be a bad idea. They're like, "Oh, I've never had that." I was like, "Okay." Pork's another thing that I like cooking pork, but getting the right color on it's always so unsettling because you're raised with I know it's a very, I don't want to say it's a white thing, but I always see it as, like, whenever it comes up, I hear it like it's a, I guess every culture has their version of this, because I know that it exists in the black community as well, but it's the old, outdated foodborne safety practices, like people that still rinse their meat. I keep thinking there's a pin in those. People that rinse their meat, which is a big no-no. It actually introduces bacteria to the rest of your kitchen where it otherwise wouldn't be, and it gets cooked to safety if you cook it to temperature. But then it always has, I think it's a pretty white thing to just absolutely destroy it by overcooking it. So you're left with like chewy chicken or rubbery pork because you're like, I need to cook it for safety. And it's like, it's just a holdover from like, I would say that food primarily, like food traditions primarily in different cultures, are driven by the poorer parts of those cultures. So my mom was raised by a single mother in poverty in Philly, and I know that there's a lot of practices that her and my grandmother have that's just ingrained into them, based on the quality of food that they were getting. And I think that's so fascinating. But I hated pork until I had to cook less than shit. Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of things that I'm learning that I like as an adult when they're cooked properly, or I cook them. Pasta's one of those things. I hated pasta until like last year, and now me and pasta, we're still not best friends, but we can like pass each other in the hallway without cursing each other out. I hated pasta, just like in all forms. When I was growing up, it was my sister's favorite thing, which anyone with an annoying sibling can probably understand the drive there, but it was my sister's favorite thing. Me and my sister didn't get along very well. And it also was always overcooked, so it was just mushy. But now, like, cooking something, like cooking pasta properly al dente is just, like, so much more pleasant for me. The texture is much more appealing. Same thing with rice. I've learned to appreciate rice more. It's still not my favorite, but rice was always cooked until it was, I don't know, grits plus. Wife had a, like German style stuffing with sausage and such does not do it for me. Huh. Is that your guys' holiday tradition? I'm gonna be doing tomorrow. I'm braising some short ribs. Oh, see, there's a pin that's bent in. Braising some short ribs and doing a creamy, like cheesy polenta, which I think will be very good. But I've also been wanting to make short ribs for a while. Doing a Dr. Pepper braise, which sounds a little crazy, but I did, when I was in Hawaii, I had like a week where I braised short rib 3+ times in the same week. I don't know if it was 4 times, but at least 3 times. And I was just making it for friends or like, I don't know, Tinder dates or something. I was just like, hey, I want to cook. Let's hang out. I'm going to cook. I want to practice something. So I was just braising short ribs, and I tried it a couple different, like the liquid braise itself. I tried a couple different combinations of things, and my favorite was the Dr. Pepper one. I thought it went really well. And a nice creamy polenta. Chicken and Coca-Cola is also not bad. That's interesting to me. One of my favorite, like, cheap but still edible things to, like, cheap and easy, like, weekday dinner things, is I will cube chicken, like cube chicken breasts, and then let them sit in a bag of Italian dressing. Get a large, like, gallon Ziploc bag. Put a whole bottle of Italian dressing in there. Let it sit overnight, and then the next day throw it on like a George Foreman grill or something, like, and get it to temperature, obviously. And that chicken is just perfect for throwing over rice and veg for like an easy work lunch, or throwing it on a salad as like chicken, like it almost Caesar. I mean, not quite because Italian, right? But like a good chicken greens. Checked out a YouTube series from a guy called Nat's What I Reckon. I have not heard of this person. Okay. I'm so surprised the keymap doesn't have the 3s on the outside for either side. Okay, I think we're pretty much done. Let me plug this in and test it. Test it with those are obviously missing because I don't have all the all one use setup down here. All right, that is good. Base sister. I don't like baking so much as cooking. I like cooking because I like doing it as an art thing and not as a science thing. When it, I like being, I have a pretty good palate, so I like tasting things and then going, oh, this needs this, and then just grabbing it and throwing it in. But when I bake things, I always forget something crucial, and it ruins the whole thing because you can't forget stuff in baking. Baking, that's the end of it. If I forget an ingredient for cookies, those aren't cookies, they're weird poison discs. Like, that... Unfortunate, really. But I prefer it, definitely, as... I prefer cooking. My girlfriend, on the other hand, is a fantastic baker. Like, her cookies are the best cookies I've ever had, and it's not close. And I tell her that all the time, and she doesn't like think I'm being serious. They are so good. It is bothersome how good it is. Guy from Australia, and he's course with some good, interesting cooking advice and recipes. As I try from scratch and get all things. I think there's an art to cooking with budget in mind. But at the same time, I'm thrifty in a lot of areas in my life so that I can just buy what I want for food. Like, I like just, hey, I feel like making, I feel like braising short rib and then making polenta and then making excess polenta so I can do polenta cakes tomorrow. It's good for me. Yeah, Sarnia, what's up, bud? It's a yellow Waka. Your brother does that. The Italian dressing. Okay, yeah, I didn't see that. No skills player. I actually like doing that with that's my party food. That I'll bring to parties. I grab I'll grab some red, green, and yellow peppers, like a good pepper medley, just bell peppers. And some onions. I get red and white onions. Oh, and yellow. Actually, I'll go for all three colors. And sometimes pineapple if I'm feeling crazy. And then I go to... I get beef bottom round, which is very much a tough, rather unpleasant cut that is perfect for stews and stuff. And I'll cube that into about like 1.5 or 1 inch cubes. And I'll put that in Italian dressing overnight. And it makes it so tender. Like the acid in it will break it down. It is so good. And then I'll take... I'll cut all of the other veg that I just said up into like 1 inch pieces. Like little squares. And I'll shish kebab them. Like I'll throw skewers in them. And brush them with Italian dressing. I do Italian, or not, sorry, Italian dressing. I do it, I do olive oil with salt, pepper, and then garlic powder in it. Mix that up, and then brush that on them, and just grill that. And that's my grill food. Like, that will feed a lot of people for very cheap, because beef bottom round is not a premium cut. Boom. I've got a yellow Waka. The clearance in there. I like it flat against. I'm gonna write in the guide that you should do that. You want to socket it? I'll send taller ones, but this way. All right. Let's look at our MP crayon. See what we're gonna do with this. First things first, let's look at the big ones with the stabilizers. I want... Oh, there's a little nick in this cap. Unfortunate. Grab this guy. Okay. A beautiful, beautiful sound. And then we'll do... Do one of these guys. And what are these? Those are just actual. Do a purple heart, and we'll do this in the center. Come on, sucker. I also love that this comes with so many 1U keys. Jeez. Just could not get that out of the package. Okay, so we'll do those on the bottom row. And then let me put this to the side. Where should we be? We'll work out what we want for the outer row after I get the alphas on. There's enough 1Us that I could just use hearts down the side and it'd be fine. But I like picking 1Us that make sense for it if I can. But this definitely has enough random stuff in it that you can kit out basically any board. There's so many 1Us. And since it doesn't matter what row they're on, you can get creative with it. I always do, if I have one key here, I make it a primary to quote and a secondary to semicolon. You guys can do what you want with that. That's the way I prefer it. I use quote a lot more than I use semicolon and colon. I have them on the same key, just on different layers. Want to do a coward's bee? I kind of do. Yeah, I'm going to do a coward's bee. All right. I'm actually going to grab it from this side. Where are my... this so I can actually just do the whole thing here. And I want over here. I have a shift. That's nice. I have an escape. I'm gonna put an artisan up there, so I'll leave that to the side. And then I think I'm done with this tray. Put that to the side. Control. I think for the enter and such, we're gonna get a little creative. Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I do. I like having the 1U type key. I have purple X in here, do I? Let's try this side so I can use both hands to get them out of this one. That. So those are the same near each other, and then I'm gonna do more hearts on this. Tab. We want tab to be. Anything for tab? Oh. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. We're gonna do another combo of these. And for the top left, I'll just do one of my goo bears or something I've had I don't have anything to do with right now. Such a cool one, but I don't think it works here. Do the black, black and yellow Keepora. Stands out a little bit. I don't really like that. Gentle. I don't want to hurt the stem on this. Gold Goo Bear? Is that too dark as well? Actually, it looks alright. I like that enough. And knob. Yeah, black knob right here. It's pretty cool. Alright, now move this out of the way, and then I'm going to put rubber feces on the bottom of it. I'm going to give it a little typey type. I'm going to play with the keymap actually too. I like this yellow. I'll point out you could do the plate with the little cutout square on it or not. I chose to not have it because it looks, in my opinion, a little cleaner. Do a the hell? What the fuck just happened here? I don't actually know what's going on. Okay, that's weird. I screwed up the... So weird. I don't know what just happened. Oh. Fuck. Fuck is happening? Oh, it opened up. That's so weird. Oh, I put something on my wireless Murph pad and it was just sending key presses. Like, none of my keyboards are doing that. What the hell? Oh my god, that was the trippiest thing in the world. Anyway, I was like, damn. Trying to get a screenshot of this. And throw it in the server. There we go. Wow, that was really confused. Oh, can't use that. It's not plugged in. Now let's get our keymap set up. There we go. I'm just gonna do this all as space, and I'll work on the 3U options after the fact. Actually, I mean, I guess I know that this one's the one directly in there, and this one that directly next to it, so I can make these whatever the hell I want. I will make these just layering keys. That's gonna be space. So I need this one. It's gonna be MO1. This could be MO2. Those are space. I think this one and this one aren't doing anything. It's the fourth one, and yeah, and that's the. So this one isn't doing anything. I'm actually just going to blank that for reference. So that one directly to the side here is also not doing anything. So those are going to be space. All the spaces to give me layout options later. No, but you can mil-max several of them. You gotta pick and choose a couple different things. It isn't that they overlap, like that the nuggets overlap. It's that the stabilizers will interfere. Like the stabilizers will overlap some of the mil-max sockets. Make this space. Where's space? Where's space? Why do I not see space? Space. Most tabs, no problem. This one is also nothing. I mean, you could do no stabs. I wouldn't recommend it for the weird 3U setup. So escape, and this is all going to be the way I want it to. I think everything else is right. Okay. The stabs are going to sound a little bit rattly. I'm probably going to do something with them later. I'm just going to type up a little. Oh, God, you see that? A ghost hit for Y. The Wakas. Where do I hit? "100% that these typos are related to the no profile-ness of this. I can say that with full confidence. Right. I like this. I like it. You guys like it as well. Good little board. You want no stabs on your short 40? That's, yeah, that's fine. I would like to make that more possible. Are there any? I would like to make that more possible. I don't like 275s with no stabs. A little sneak peek for you guys. The BDE Rev 2. BDE Rev 2 is set up and ready to go. This thing is a disaster. I love it, but it is absolutely a disaster. Like, this is such a prototype that I didn't even order a bottom plate for it. I just used a top plate reversed. Oh, focus, you sucker. Focus. There we go. I really like this. I also want to make this a little bit wider. It feels like there's barely any room here, so it doesn't feel centered. It's centered in the space, but it's not centered in the keycap visible space for some reason. Need more buttons. Oh, then I can make it longer if you'd like. If you want more buttons, I could just keep adding some. And then this is cool that this works so well. I think what's on here? Oh, I just have yellows on here. That's oh, I'm holding the wrong button. I'm trying to hold control. God. The biggest issue I'm having is I hate typing on linears, but this is a prototype, so we have a bunch of yellows that we use for prototypes. I hate it. So that's another funny thing is I figured out that if you take two of these, you put one on top of the other, exactly the same thing, this and another one, and then I can run the cable connecting them as a split. You could just make that, it's just a 6x14 linear or ortho board at that point. I think that is hilarious and ridiculous, but I have several things I want to change, one of which is there just needs to be more room over here. You can only connect two together. But it will be possible with the BDE Rev 2 and the Murph Pad Rev 2, it'll be possible to have a BDE and then a right half Murph pad, or you could flip it if you're crazy. But I think that I'm making it so you can basically connect all of our boards together is insane enough that I don't need to go too much harder on it. But I think this is just funny that it's borrowing from the Murph pad right now, obviously, because I don't want to put... I didn't put a lot of effort into this firmware just yet. 3 dills? No! 2 is the max. Let's see, can I do 3? Not comfortably. Can't do 3 comfortably. I can't think of how that would work out. So this is another one where I used the 12U. Yeah, our sockets are just tall for what they are. Back to you. Now that it won't be cross-compatible from, I love how that comes up here. It won't be cross-compatible from boards that use black pills and boards that use Pro Micros, but anything that we do that uses a Pro Micro, I'm expecting to be able to connect to each other. Just because I think it's funny. Use 2 Murph pads as a split. I need to make a second wireless Murph pad so I can set these up as splits. Because like this is my wireless one right now. And this, I haven't charged this in like months. It's using the dog bone in it. It's got the acrylic bottom for the LEDs to show when I have them on. Which I don't think I do right now. When I say I don't think I do, I mean I definitely don't. But I don't remember if I can turn it on easily. This obviously doesn't show very well because the light, but it is full of the acrylic bottom. Where is this key? Where did I put this? Why did I take that off? Another question I have. I actually found it. What is that? What is that set up to? It's weird that it only taps escape there. I thought these were... I might have these set up to different macros or something. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the boards that have been showing up. This is... Oh, that's funny. I have the magnifying glass is connected to this light, this top light right here. And the lights from this are going up through the magnifying glass and showing on my slanted ceiling. That's really funny. I'm like, how are those that so strong that I can see Christmas lights on my ceiling? That's really funny. And we will reset this. What's up, Putty Pops? I'm actually... There we go. That's the Murph pad screen, the ZMK one. It doesn't even allow you to rotate it because... did I... Oh, there we go. It disconnected for a second because I hit a reset on it. I haven't charged this thing forever and it's still good on battery. QMK doesn't let you spin it either. They cheat a little bit. The way that it actually spins, they buffer it and then write it out separately after the fact. Did you miss the sound? Oh, you're right. I haven't played with the sound. What's the sound key? Let's turn off this music. Play with it. Thank you for pointing that out. Music toggle. Why aren't you? I can change modes. Oh, this is music mode. Oh, that's the method music. Why isn't that doing it? Tell me they didn't just break it. Tell me I didn't break it. It should be working. Let me plug another one. No one's doing it. I wonder if I... Should be the same dang firmware. Do I not have it on in the via default? That's possible. Forget what... I'm looking at the keymaps real quick. See what ones I have it turned on. 60 keymaps. I have an audio map. Let's try that. Thank you for pointing that out. FN plus Q. Yes, that should do it, but not in the via key. I don't think that I have it enabled. Pretty sure I made it so that it's only... Hey, what's up, Steve? How you doing? Steve. Millie Kalikimaka to you too. I've heard that that is the thing to say. Audio. So I'm going to unplug this, hold the escape key, and replug it, and that should flash it. There we go. Don't laugh at that, Marin. Oh, it just took a second to start up. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's definitely needs some tweaking. No, it doesn't do the Pac-Man song because they won't approve anything into QMK repo that that's copyrighted or anything weird. So I didn't even do it. So that's me turning on the music mode. You also notice that these don't do normal key things. There. What the hell did I do? I like put it into... I don't know what all the keys do for this, but I made it play a little song based on what I was doing. I think I recorded it and have it being looped. I don't know if that's a feature of this. Let me look that up. Okay. Audio driver. The audio feature. Songs. Music mode. Oh, in music mode, the following cue codes work differently and don't pass through. Left control is start a recording. Left alt is stop a recording or stop playing. Left GUI is play recording. KC up is speed up playback. KC down is slow down playback. Okay, so if I do... So this should be stop record. Okay. At the end of the recording, you can't let me do the whole thing. It's so fast too. Oh, hold up again. So stop this. Yeah, I can only get to that point. I'm gonna stop it. Oh, it's because it's not on the layer. Anyway, there's a lot of fun things to do with this. That's really cool. Is that the music thing you built? No, I haven't played with yours yet. What'd you do with yours? Link that to me on Discord. I'll build it and do it right now. I want to point out that if you're worried about the way the blue will look, you can only really see it by the USB port, and that's by design. The PCB sticks out as little as possible, so that it's mostly just the case. It'll play it per press. Oh no, I haven't seen that. That's insane. I just found out about the recording thing. I didn't know about that mode. Because I've only played meme songs with it, really. I don't know how loud, if you guys can hear that really at all, but it's... Yeah, it's... I mean, I like it, but... Put it closer to my... It's... I mean, it's enough for me to hear it in person. It's not enough to blow out anything. These are little tiny baby speakers. It's so high pitch. Yeah. That like made my cat scurry downstairs. Maybe I'll stop playing with the super high pitch ones. Hey, thanks for the follow, Hexy. Oh, you never told me. Do you have a name in the server? Sarnia, did you see the BDE Rev 2? Pull that back out. It's right here. You notice it's USB-C because it's using the USB-C Pro Micro. It's ridiculous. Let me do it full top down. This is so much a prototype that I had to run a wire, and I'm using the top plate just flipped over for the bottom. Yeah, just because it was easier. Then I was like, I don't need to order a new one. It's just a long thing. It's perfectly symmetrical. This is fine. It's a feature. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, feature. Feature. This is exciting for me. This thing is ridiculous. And how do I... exclamation point. Not that. Oh, I didn't even set up the other maps. Damn it. Put your own song in there, I think. Yeah, you can. Double-sided key. That's possible. It just would be a disaster. You type it and push down on it. I'll go back to this guy. Yeah, the BDE, the Murph pad, and the split we have coming up will all be interchangeable with halves and stuff. So you could do left side split, right side BDE, left side BDE, right side split, left side Murph pad, right side Murph pad. Just whatever. I think it'll be fun when it's done. You don't lose anything as long as I do it all the same way. Why not? Have 100 grams on the bottom. Yeah, you could, or you make it so that like when you push the board, it's like make it so the space bar is you pushing the whole board down, like because it'll push the keys on the bottom. Yeah, sorry, I'll pass on getting too creative with that right now. I'm just gonna wrap the stream up because I want to play video games a little bit crazy. I gotta do this guide for this thing though. So I'm gonna do Spice Girls and Backstreet Boys. Of course it is. I'm gonna do bare bones guide and touch it up this week. I hope that this was enough for anyone. It was you and like one other person I think that got it so far. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out, you guys, and thanks for new follows whenever. And I hope you are looking forward to this ridiculous ass BDE Rev 2. Same with the Murph pad Rev 2. So I will keep you guys informed as much as I can. Bye.